You ever notice how people only realize what they had once it's gone? It's almost like a cruel joke life plays on you. You show up, you give, you love, and you pour your soul into people. And yet, they barely notice. They think you'll always be there, standing in the same place, ready to pick up the pieces for them, ready to save them from their own mess. But here's the truth. People rarely value what's constant. They get comfortable with you being around. They get used to your kindness, your effort, your time. They assume you'll always answer the call, always forgive, always show up, no matter how badly they treat you. And you know what hurts the most? It's that silent moment when you realize they don't even see you anymore. They see what you do for them, but they don't really see you. Your pain, invisible, your struggles, ignored. As long as you keep playing the part they expect, they're happy. But what happens when you stop? What happens when you finally walk away? That's when everything changes. That's when your absence becomes louder than every word you ever spoke. That's when the people who once overlooked you suddenly panic, because the safety net they always counted on has disappeared. They'll call you selfish. They'll say you changed, but deep down, they'll know the truth. They pushed you away, piece by piece, until there was nothing left to hold on to. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about making anyone hurt. It's about finally realizing your worth and choosing yourself for the first time in a long time. Here's the hard truth. The more you give, the more people expect. They stop seeing your effort as effort. They stop recognizing your sacrifices. They just get used to it, like it's their right to have your time, your energy, your love. And the moment you slow down, the moment you hesitate, they notice, but not in a way that makes them appreciate you. They just get upset that you're no longer giving as much as before. It's almost like your kindness becomes a habit for them. You're the one they call when they need something. You're the one they lean on when their life falls apart. But when it's you who needs support, silence. They're too busy, too distracted, too caught up in their own world. And it eats at you, doesn't it? You start to feel small. You start to feel like maybe you don't matter as much as you thought. You begin to question if anyone actually cares about you, or if they only care about what you can do for them. This is how people take you for granted. It's not always loud or obvious. It's subtle. A missed call here, a broken promise there. Little things that slowly add up until one day you realize you've been carrying the weight of everyone else while no one even noticed you were tired. You keep telling yourself it's okay. You tell yourself that's just how they are. They don't mean it, but deep down, it's breaking you, because all you ever wanted was for someone to see you the way you see them. And yet, as long as you're available, as long as you're present, most people won't. They'll keep taking until there's nothing left to take. And the moment you finally pull away, that's when it hits them. But by then, it's already too late. There's a unique kind of pain in feeling invisible. You can be surrounded by people, family, friends, even the ones you love most, and still feel like you're screaming into an empty room. You try to speak up about what's hurting you, but your words get brushed aside like they're nothing. It's not just the big betrayals that break you, it's the small things. It's when you send a message and no one replies. It's when you show up for them time and time again, but they can't be bothered to check if you're okay. It's when you look around and realize that if you stopped giving, if you stopped caring, most of them wouldn't even notice you were gone. And that realization, it burns. It makes you question everything. You start asking yourself, am I not good enough? Am I that easy to forget? You try harder. You smile when you're hurting. You put on a mask so they won't see how broken you feel inside, because somewhere deep down, you hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll notice without you having to beg. But most people don't notice. They're too wrapped up in their own lives, too comfortable having you there. So you keep shrinking piece by piece. You stop sharing your feelings. You stop expecting anything from anyone. Because what's the point of opening up when no one really listens? This is the part no one sees. They see the version of you that keeps it all together, but they don't see the nights you cry alone. They don't see how hard it is to get out of bed some mornings. They don't see how tired you are of being strong all the time. And then one day, something inside you shifts. You realize that the world isn't going to suddenly start valuing you. You realize that if you want to feel whole again, you have to stop waiting for them to care. And that's when the decision starts forming in your heart. There comes a moment when you're just done, not angry, not bitter, just tired of explaining yourself, tired of begging for the bare minimum, tired of showing up for people who never show up for you. And in that moment, you realize something powerful. You don't have to stay. You don't have to keep living like this. That's when you start choosing yourself. It's not about revenge. It's not about teaching them a lesson. It's about survival. You've given so much of yourself away that there's almost nothing left, and you know you can't keep going like this. You need to take your energy back. At first, it feels strange. You say no when you're asked to do something you don't want to do. You stop answering every message right away. You start spending more time alone, not because you're lonely, but because you finally realize your own company matters too. And that's when the shift happens. The same people who ignored you before suddenly start noticing your absence. They wonder why you're quieter. They wonder why you're not available like you used to be. Some even get upset, accusing you of being distant or selfish. But the truth is, you're finally protecting your heart. You've spent too long giving to people who drained you, and now you're learning to give that energy to yourself. It's not easy. You'll feel guilty at first, like you're abandoning them, but you're not. You're just refusing to abandon yourself any longer. This is where your strength begins to grow. You stop chasing people for their love or attention. You stop waiting for them to validate you, because deep down, you know you're worth more than the crumbs they were giving you. And when you truly choose yourself, everything changes. Your absence is louder than your presence ever was. When you stop being the one who's always there, people finally notice the space you leave behind. It unsettles them. They start to realize how much of their world was held together by you, and for the first time, they feel the weight of what they took for granted. It's almost ironic, isn't it? You spent years trying to get them to see you. You tried explaining, you tried showing your pain, but they looked the other way. Then the moment you step back, the moment you disappear, they're suddenly wide awake. They'll think about all the times you were there for them. They'll remember the messages you used to send, the favors you used to do, the way you made them feel safe. And now all of that is gone. The silence you leave behind will echo in their minds louder than any argument, any words you could have ever said. Some will start rewriting the story in their heads. They'll tell themselves you were misunderstood, that you just needed help they didn't know how to give. They'll even romanticize you, painting you as someone they wish they had appreciated more. But it doesn't matter. Because you know the truth. They had every chance to see your worth when you were there, and they didn't. This is the power of your absence. It forces people to confront the reality they've been avoiding. It makes them see that you were never the problem. You were the glue. You were the one who cared enough to hold things together. And now that you're gone, they're left facing the cracks they ignored for so long. But here's the most important part. Your absence isn't about hurting them. It's about healing you. You're not walking away to punish anyone. You're walking away because you finally understand your value. You no longer need to prove it to people who couldn't see it. And once you embrace that, you become unstoppable. The shock always comes first. They can't believe you're really gone. They'll send messages, they'll call, they'll ask mutual friends why you've changed. But you haven't changed. You've just finally stopped tolerating what was breaking you. Then comes the regret. They'll replay every moment in their minds, searching for the signs they missed. They'll remember the times you pulled away, the times you seemed quieter than usual, and they'll wish they had asked what was wrong, but they didn't. And now they're left with a silence they can't fix. Some will try to pull you back. They'll promise to do better, to be different this time. Others will lash out, accusing you of being heartless or dramatic. That's just their guilt speaking, because deep down, they know they were the ones who pushed you to this point. And you'll feel the temptation to go back. You'll remember the good times, the memories, the bond you once shared, but you also remember the pain, the constant feeling of being invisible, the exhaustion of giving more than you received, and that memory is what keeps you from stepping back into the same cycle. This is the moment when you realize how much strength you've gained. Their regret doesn't move you the way it used to. Their apologies, as sincere as they may be, don't erase the years of being taken for granted. You understand now that words without consistent action are empty. And so you keep walking, not because you're cruel, not because you want to see them suffer, but because you finally understand that you deserve more than being an afterthought. They will feel the loss. They will sit in the mess they created, and for the first time, they'll understand just how much you mattered. But by the time they do, it's already too late. Once the noise of their regret fades, you're left with something far more important: yourself. For the first time in a long time, you can finally focus on you. No more constantly pouring your energy into people who never poured back. No more sacrificing your happiness for the sake of keeping everyone else comfortable. At first, it feels strange. You're so used to putting others first that it almost feels selfish to prioritize your own needs. But slowly, you start to realize that this isn't selfish, it's necessary. You can't keep giving from an empty cup. You begin setting boundaries. You start saying no without feeling like you owe anyone an explanation. You choose to spend your time with people who actually value you, not just those who use you when it's convenient. You rediscover the things that make you happy, the passions you once set aside to please everyone else. And with each small step, you start to feel stronger. The constant ache in your chest begins to fade. The weight you carried for so long starts to lift. You realize you don't need anyone's approval to feel worthy. You don't need constant validation to know your value. This is where the healing begins. You stop living for everyone else and start living for yourself. You start building a life that makes you proud, one where your worth isn't defined by how much you give to others, but by how much you honor yourself. And here's the best part. Once you truly rebuild yourself, you'll never allow anyone to treat you the way they once did, because you've seen what it feels like to be free. You've seen the strength you have when you stand on your own. By choosing yourself, you've already won. There's a moment in your healing when it all clicks. You look back on everything. The sleepless nights, the tears, the constant feeling of being unseen, and you finally understand something. Your worth was never tied to how others treated you. You were always enough. You were always valuable. The problem was never you. It was the people who couldn't appreciate what they had while you were there. And now you're done waiting for them to see it. You stop trying to prove your value to those who couldn't recognize it in the first place. You stop bending over backward for people who only showed up when it was convenient for them. Instead, you focus on the ones who truly appreciate you, the ones who celebrate your presence, not just mourn your absence. This is when the power shifts completely, because now you know that your happiness, your peace, and your future don't depend on anyone else. You hold that power, and once you realize that, nothing can shake you. The people who took you for granted may still talk about you. They may regret the way they treated you, but by now you're so far beyond their world that their opinion no longer matters. Their regret is theirs to carry, not yours. You've learned to respect yourself enough to walk away from anyone who can't see your value. You've learned to set boundaries, to protect your peace, and to choose relationships where your effort is matched. And with that understanding comes a freedom you've never felt before. You're no longer held hostage by anyone's approval. You're no longer chasing people who were never capable of giving you what you deserved. You finally realized your worth. And when you know your worth, you become unstoppable. Now you stand in a place you never thought you'd reach. The pain that once weighed you down has turned into strength. The people who once ignored you are now left staring at the empty space you left behind. They whisper about how they wish they had done better, but it doesn't matter anymore because you've moved on. You understand something they may never grasp. Your absence is the loudest thing you could ever leave behind. It echoes louder than any words, any arguments, any pleas for attention. It forces people to see what they refused to see when you were there. And by the time they understand your value, you're already living a life that no longer includes them. They'll call you selfish. They'll say you walked away too easily, but deep down they know the truth. They had chance after chance, and they wasted every single one. Now they're left with the silence they created, and you're free. This is not about punishing them. It never was. This is about freeing yourself. This is about taking back your heart, your energy, your life. You no longer have to be everything for everyone. You no longer have to beg for scraps of attention or love. You are enough. You always were. And the ones who couldn't see it, they don't deserve to be part of your future, not even as a memory. So walk away and don't look back. Let them sit in the wreckage of the relationship they neglected. Let them feel the weight of what they lost. Because the truth is, the moment you realized your own worth, you won.